and welcome to episode 60 of Brews Less Traveled, the podcast exploring the best uncharted beer scenes across the U.S. Hey there.
Hello.
I'm your host. I'm out of breath. Good to be back for another episode. Happy to have my co-host Ben back for another Bend episode. How's it going, Ben?
It's all about Bend, Oregon, baby. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am also doing well. We were doing things a little different this week. Doing things a little different tonight.
I
Not
like
one
change.
Of our, I don't. Not one of our typical episodes. I don't know if I don't like change. I'm reluctant to most change.
We might even have some inadvertent changes because I've noticed this, and two people in the Q&A are pointing this out as well. The chat would seem to be disabled for everyone.
What?
Yeah, none of us can access the option to message everyone.
Well, that's weird. That kind of takes away from the function of a live stream.
Yeah. Especially given the nature of what we're trying to do tonight. I mean, it could just have everything be in the form of Q&A.
Everyone.
Can you message everyone? There we go.
Here we go. Try it out. Does that work, everybody? I will tell you what, there's not that much change yet. Hey, there's Scotty in the chat. We got messages. Dale, Jonathan, Nick, and Laura, everybody checking in. There we go.
Awesome.
Ben disappeared for a second. Yeah. So there's no changes there because technical difficulties, that's par for the course on this show. But we're going to be dissecting our beers tonight like the usual, but we're going to be joined by a friend of the pod, and we're going to have to check this. Maybe producer Laura in the chat can confirm this, but I think our first recurring guest in the history of Brews Less Traveled. Without further ado, let's welcome back previous guest and friend of the podcast, Iain Oldman. How's it going, Iain?
Hello, everyone. Hi.
There we go. Hello, Iain. How's it going?
Going great. Thanks for having me back on. Can't wait to learn more about Bend. I love cities that are a verb. Great vibes there, you know.
But it's also a noun, you know. There's a
That's
bend
true.
in the road, but also that road bends to the left.
It's very flexible, Bend.
Yeah.
This city has layers.
Yeah, it does. It's like an onion, like a flexible onion. How you guys doing today? How's your day been so far? What's your non-pod life thing? Ben, I know Ben has an exciting story to share with everyone.
Oh yeah, I've been moving all day, furniture from a dwelling to another dwelling. I mean, most people move most of the day, like physically, but I've been moving furniture to a new apartment, which I'm very excited to put together, probably sometime tomorrow because I am out of energy, and this is the night that we're doing Belgians.
Yep. Got some nice easy drinkers here for you tonight. Yeah. Iain, how was your day going?
Well, we're on about our 5th straight day of heat advisory here in Texas. So been doing nothing. I saw a squirrel in my backyard, just sort of giving up, just hanging out under my porch just for shade, and my cat had a field day with that. So lots of stuff going on.
Wait, did the cat get to the squirrel?
No, she's not allowed outside. She's not.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a city cat. She born in the alleys of Pittsburgh. Not really her thing. The heat, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. There's some rough and tumble alleys around here. She could probably tear it up in the Texas outdoor area.
She's a cowgirl now. She's.
It's really,
teach her
really
manners,
puttered out on that one.
the Texas space
out the stuff
outside.
Yeah. So I've been traveling. I slept about 4 hours last night, and then I've been traveling all morning.
We're all in great shape.
Yeah,
This is
just
perfect.
top of our game.
I'm a lot more enthused and energized now than I was before to know that we are all on the same page. That's good.
Yes, Ian could die any second because of heat. He's watching squirrels die. Ben is in an echoey, empty room, and I forgot my mouth guard when I was traveling, so I just stayed up all night last night and grinded my teeth, grinding the night away. But I had a very wonderful day yesterday. I was in Boston, a good beer city. I had lots of local beers such as Miller Lite. That we went to a restaurant based on its location, not based on its beer list, which is the complete opposite of what we normally do when we choose places to eat as a company. So yeah, lots of good local Miller Lights there. Me and a friend shared paella. Shout out Todd. It was very wonderful. My yay buddy. And yeah, now I'm back in Pittsburgh after long day of traveling, flight delays, being hot, and I'm ready to drink some really strong beer. Chat is blowing up, but we have beer. Let's go. That's a good point. Let me get through this copy here. We have a featured brewery this week, Monkless Belgian Ales, and they have supplied us with some amazing beers to drink and dissect, and for our beer club subscribers to enjoy along with us. We're going to be drinking the FNG Belgian style Abbey Ale and their Hazy Day in Brussels, which is a double dry hopped Belgian style Tripel. So excited to get into both of those. And without further ado, let's crack these beers. Yins and Johns. I don't know why I wrote that in the script. Yins and Johns. There's nobody here. Well, Ben's kind of Philly area, so we got Yins and Johns here tonight. What should we do first? I feel like we should do the Hazy Day in Brussels first. We're gonna crack that first.
Oh, sure.
Let's get into some beers. Ian, I believe you have a beer for yourself there, right? Maybe not a Monkless beer.
Still was able to find a Day Shoots here in Austin. What is it? I think it's freshly squeezed. Yeah, fresh squeezed.
Fresh squeezed. You should hold that up again. It becomes, especially when the hot part, it just becomes part of the background. Spin the can.
Oh, where are we?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
We're really living in 2022, aren't we? I mean, this is the technology Isaac Asimov was writing about.
Yeah.
So I already poured the FNG because that's what I thought that we were starting with, but I think I'll just go back and forth, and we'll talk about each one at the appropriate time, if that's okay with everyone.
That's fine. Sorry about that, Ben. I did actually put him backwards in the run of show. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Yeah, so I started, and other people in the chat started with the Hazy Day in Brussels, which is an 8.6% Belgian style Tripel that they brew like a Tripel, classic Belgian Pilsen malt, Belgian Trappist yeast, basically up until the point where the beer is almost done fermenting. They treat it like a Belgian Abbey Tripel. And then they dry hop it like a New England IPA with Citra, Eldorado, and Mandarina Bavaria. And it really comes through like that.
Yeah, so far, the first sip tastes exactly as expected, based off of that description.
Yeah, lots of citrusy aromas, really nice yeast character in the back coming from that Trappist ale. It plays really nicely with that Citra and Eldorado.
And I actually, you said this was how strong?
8.6.
Yeah, that alcohol flavor is not coming through the way that I expected.
No, gonna be feeling it in a minute though.
Yeah. It's gonna hit the bloodstream and go running straight to the brain real fast. But Yeah, there's enough bitterness, at least in the there's the bitterness and then the hop aroma to balance out any sweetness that would be normally present in a Tripel, at least as far as I can discern.
Yeah, very, very calmed down and like that sweetness that's typical. Chat, you are funny and electric tonight. I think we're just going to disable the chat at the beginning of the stream every night. Get them going. Get them
it got them all. It riled them, and now we're getting all the big hits.
So shout out to those people in the chat. Some of our loyal beer club subscribers. You also got Monklis stickers in your box this month, and becoming a common occurrence in the Brews Travel box, temporary tattoo. Didn't think I would see the day that temporary tattoos would be a common swag thing from craft breweries, but it's a thing now.
Next only for temporary tattoos. Surprise your boss tomorrow. Going to the office with one.
I should put it. I should put it on my forehead and scare my mom.
Okay, I'm gonna put mine on. Wait, how do you do a temporary tattoo? I have water here. I think I got these paper towels here. I think we could do this. I think we could do this. We're gonna do this. I do have a question for everybody, since we are drinking from a brewery that calls themselves Monklis. They call themselves that because they're everything about Belgian ales except the monks. They don't have monks there, so they are Monklis. Great name. Love an etymology of a name.
No monks.
Minus, even on the can, it just says Belgian tradition minus the monks. All righty. But the question at hand is when did you guys first get into Belgian ales? First, are you both big Belgian ale drinkers? Is it something you order when you go to the bar?
Oh yeah, love them. They're beers with like tons of history. They've got so much character, and also like I think probably everyone did this when they first got into craft beer, right? Like you order by price and ABV. So if you could find like the beer that's 8.7% and it's like $4, and you're like, well, I guess I'm drinking from Belgium today, so it really it comes in handy quite a lot. But yeah, they're fantastic. I'm a bigger fan of like the saisons and tripels more so than like doubles or quads even. But I mean they but that's because I'm in a place where it's like 90 degrees year round, so it's hard to chug a syrupy quad,
a dark raisiny 11% beer. How about you, Ben? Is a Belgian something you go for often?
I guess I've drank so many saisons, and that's become just it's a huge category, and it's one of my favorites that in my head I don't even really think of it as Belgian anymore. Like
it's a saison.
Yeah, it's just saison. Like there's Belgian saisons, there's French saisons, there's mixed culture, there's all different kinds of things that you can do within the category of a saison. So I guess what I would say is that primarily what I drink is very Belgian adjacent. And when I think of Belgians, I think of those tripels and those quads and stuff like that. And there was a time like what Iain was talking about, like where I'm in my early 20s and I just want the strongest thing on the menu because I am the strongest boy. But I nowadays tend to lean away from that. I think my introduction to the style wasn't actually a beer from Belgium, but it was Le Fin du Monde from Unibrow was my sort of like, that was the gateway for me into that category of beer. And that was like one of my first favorite beers ever. I'd never had anything as complex and enchanting as that, especially with the aesthetic and the themes of the apocalypse and all that. So that was all very appealing to me as a 20-something.
That's what that means, right? Le Fin du Monde is the end of the world.
The end of the world, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great Unibrow.
Unibrow. They're like a they're French. They're French Canadian. My my family is from like up in Quebec, and when I was that's the first beer I ever like got drunk off of, because they sell them in like 40s up there, and 140 when you're like 16 years old of Lefin de Man will like
a
get
9%
it'll get you there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so appropriately named at that point.
Yeah. The end of your good decision-making abilities. So that was going to be the next question. What was the first one you remember having? So both of you is Lefin du Man, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I'm gonna blow chat up here, or blow up the show here. The first Belgian beer I ever had was Blue Moon. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, that's probably the first like Belgian style I had. Green screen's getting all messed up here. We're off the rails here. That's probably like the first like Belgian white ale I had. Yeah, it's really just my shitty office behind there. And I think I almost want to say Lefin du Man or maybe Maudette. I had a good friend I had a good friend named Matt. We worked at a pizza shop together, and he got me into like good craft beer and home brewing, and like was really the catalyst for me getting into like a nerdy level of good beer. My dad always had good beer around, but he was the one that really got me, and he was really into Belgians. And there was a bar, a 6-pack shop that we would go to, and I'm pretty sure I'd buy like Dogfish Head, 90 Minute, and Stone Ruination, and Arrogant Bastard and stuff. And I was like, well, this Maudette bottle looks pretty cool. Let me try that out. Oh, chat's throwing a very good one up there. Chimay Blue may have been the first one I had. Probably one of those two, Chimay or Lefin du Man or Maudette. But I think a lot of people are like what you guys said. When you get into craft beer, you're like, oh, I want to drink the fanciest shit. I want the most expensive one. I want the one with the most bang for the buck. Let's order Delirium Noel.
Right. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people go through a delirium tremens phase. Especially the fruited stuff too, because if you've never had a beer like that before, like it's kind of mind-blowing how fruity and sweet it can be and still be so strong. That's not to slag anyone off, but that's a beer that I went back to recently, and I was just like, oh yeah, when I was younger this absolutely would have blown my mind, and now I'm just like, it's fine, it's good.
Yeah, clay bottles or whatever they are, clay covered painted bottles or whatever.
Not like I said, not to knock it, but it definitely was another one that like got me to where I am now. And I can still absolutely see why it's so broadly appealing and so popular around the world, and readily available all across the country. But yeah, no, having a hazy Belgian now, I'm kind of surprised that this is not something that I've run into yet. It's but yeah, this is really good, and now I'm starting to feel it.
Looking at chat, some great answers here. Chad says Duchess de Bourgogne. I never get that that one. That one. First was an Overshores Quad, Chimay Blue, Chimay, Lefin du Man, Delirium, Duvel. There's a good starter Belgian beer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time I had one of those, I was like, oh, it tastes like root beer, but it's beer.
Well, Duchess is an interesting one too, because it's that like the Flemish Sour Red, which is it's such a unique beer style that like it's really not really replicated by a lot of other breweries. It's sort of like very unique.
Yeah, what is it technically, a Flemish Red or an Oud Bruin? But that's like when I think of Belgian beers, there's a few categories. There is like working class, like farmer beer, which is like lambic and saison and the stuff that like developed on farms, like all the way back to the 1400s. Then there's like fancy monk beer, which is like Abbey, the Trappiste stuff, the Dubbels, the Quads, the Tripels. And then there's that weird category of sour and dark, the Oud Bruin, the Flemish Red, the Flemish Brown. And yeah, you just do not see anywhere near the level of appreciation for those beers that you do for the other categories of Belgian beers. And
I'll throw in a fourth category there, and it's sort of like industrial revolution beer. When I went over to Belgium, I like drank all the beers that we're talking about. Like made the trip to Cantillon, did everything, did all like the beer spots. But honestly, like one of my favorite beer experiences was finding when we were in Antwerp. There's this beer. It's like their city beer called De Conic. Like it's a Belgian pale ale. It's not what you expect it to be at all. It's literally cheaper than water in some bars. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that was just what it's one sip. It was like, oh, this is like just a solid beer, like an everyday drinking beer. And there we found sort of some of those like throughout Belgium, where it's like the local city brewery made them, and they made them for like 200 years. They were like only interrupted by World War I. Yeah. And and they're just sort of like, they're bready, they're a little light, but like that. And those are the beers that like don't make it across the ocean too much, which is a shame, because I feel like Belgian pale ale, like I don't know anyone that really makes a Belgian pale ale over here.
Well, I remember. So I absolutely know someone. I had it last weekend. Allagash makes their River Trip, which is a wonderful little Belgian pale ale. But Allagash and the Lost Abbey have both done a Belgian style lager, which I imagine is somewhat similar to what you described, but just, lager instead of pale ale. And I always remember enjoying those with a little bit of funk, Belgian yeast character to it, but that real clean, crisp, refreshing, like clean Pilsner malt taste, little touch of hops. And I feel like that's what the everyday people would drink. There might be people in Brussels that are like, hey, let's pop a goose every day, or let's pop a fruited lambic every day. But I feel like around the world, it's just everybody's local lager that's the most consumed.
Yeah, when it's just like what we can get for a couple of euros at the cafe, or like they'll be on the umbrellas outside. Whatever brand is on the umbrellas outside.
Something else interesting came up in chat. This might be a window cling. So let's find out here. We got
we don't know.
We don't know. Producer Laura, please tell me if this is a window cling, because if I put it on my neck, it may not come.
Don't tell him, Laura.
So here we go. We're gonna wet the neck down. I think this is how you do this.
Be sure to apply lots of heat when you put it on as well.
Lots of heat,
so the adhesive really gets in there.
Okay, yeah. So we got, this is probably good neck positioning right here. We're gonna put it on there. Here, we'll just hold that on there like that. A couple people in chat were saying that their first Belgian beers were Cantillon and Tilken. You guys are just jumping right into the Funk Factory.
Those are pretty great beers.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. I mean, that's my go-to. If I pick any kind of Belgian beer, lambic is my ultimate. That's my favorite. If I want to have like a special moment with beer, I'm pulling out lambic. That's the end all be all. I mean, I'm not going to go down the lambic tangent and wax poetically about it, but that's the coolest beer. Let's just make this beer and put it out in the wild and let it do things, and then we'll try to drink it like 3 years from now. Cool. Yeah, just holding this tattoo on my neck here, seeing if it's gonna work. I think it might be time to jump into our second beer, start talking about the FNG. How long should I hold this on here?
I think the rest of the episode.
Okay.
We'll do a big reveal at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Oh my God, it's gonna be like.
No, I think it's like 5 minutes. Give it like 5 minutes.
Okay, we got this. Let's do this. All right. Let's take a beer break and talk about hops. Oregon is one of the country's largest hop cultivating regions, with only the states of Idaho and Washington producing more. About 130 miles west of Bend is the Willamette Valley, which includes the cities of Portland, Salem, and Eugene. This area is extremely similar in climate and appearance to Germany's famous hop-growing regions, and at one time was the largest producer of hops in the world. In 2020, farmers in Oregon harvested over 7,000 acres of hop plants, producing around 120,000 pounds of hop product, accounting for 12% of all hop production in the United States. Now, this region doesn't just specialize in hops. In fact, it's highly likely that your Christmas tree or any hazelnuts that you have laying around the house came from the Willamette Valley. A great region for growing hops, Christmas trees, hazelnuts, and other things. Now, let's get back to the show. So now we have the FNG, also from Monklis. FNG, effing new guy, the freaking new guy. And this is a great story behind this beer, because apparently one of the new brewers at Monklis screwed up a recipe and was supposed to be brewing a Dubbel, which is basically Belgian's answer to an English porter. So dark, malty. But he accidentally made something that's halfway in between a Dubbel and a Tripel. He put Tripel yeast in there. So you get this very much like fruity, estery character that plays really nicely with that brown malts, dark malts. I realize everybody's probably just staring at me holding this stupid tattoo on my neck now. So
I was going to make a Dubbel and a half joke.
Cheers.
Just really suck the air out of the room as much as I possibly can.
That is wonderful. Bready and banana-y and little touch of dark character to it.
Yeah, I'm actually not mad that I let this one sit for a little bit. I think it actually did some good things to it. If there was any style that I was going to let just sit for 20 minutes in a glass, this is one of them.
Yeah, another heavy hitter here, coming in at 8% ABV.
It is not even 6 o'clock here yet.
Oh, yeah, West Coast. Hey, we got three time zones represented here. We're really living up the Brews Less Traveled name here. We got all of the United States covered.
Well, we're missing Mountain Time Zone.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say all of the United States means Oregon, Texas, and Pennsylvania. Everything else.
Yeah. The 3 big ones that everyone talks about all the time. Yeah.
Just the 3 needle movers in the country.
Yeah.
So both of these beers from Monklis, Monklis is definitely portrays itself as trying to show off those Belgian styles, but both of these are kind of combination styles, half a Dubbel, half a Tripel, half a Tripel, half a New England IPA. I'm curious to the both of you, if you have any other kind of weird style mashup, style combos that you've run into that really stick out in your mind? Ben's nodding, thinking, sharing.
I mean, I guess I've had a few Imperial Pilsners, some that were pretty good and others that never again. And it's just, at that point, it seems weird calling it a Pilsner, but the good ones still have the characteristics that you look for in a Pilsner, the drinkability, those flavors that are really balanced but still present, but strong, like stronger than an export lager, which is my favorite style of lager.
You're a Dortmunder guy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put my foot down now and finally just nail that down and say that's my favorite style of lager. But yeah, as far as other weird combinations go, I mean, this isn't so weird anymore, and it's a style that I have really strong feelings about how it's being done in the years since it became popular. But basically any kind of dessert sour, like a lactose sour, it's really easy to overdo any one of the elements and make it stomach curdling. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think that's a
you nailed
that's
it.
A tattoo.
That is a tat.
That's a
ink.
tat. Cool. Well,
looks good on you, Brian. I gotta say.
Guess I'm gonna have to have a meeting with HR tomorrow morning.
It's pretty well hidden underneath your beard, you know.
Oh yeah, I put my head down like this and nobody even notices.
Yeah.
And then I turn and then it's like, oh no. I agree, Ben. When the dessert sours first came out, it was like everything was overdone, and now it seems like people have gotten more subtle with it. There's a brewery right down the street here that does they put graham crackers in a lot of those, and it adds this character that really mellows out a lot of that sweetness and kind of brings everything together and puts this like pie crust element in there. And I feel like, I mean, that's what everybody should be doing with every beer, is like, let's take these components and bring them together to make this cohesive thing.
Yeah.
And
there was a brewery here that they took their truck to a grocery store and bought out all of the angel food cake in the bakery and threw that into the beer.
Can you imagine somebody who had to pick up angel food cake for their like mom's birthday that day?
Oh man!
Like, I got a brewery picked it up to put it in a pastry sour. You're like, this is their 90th birthday. It's a big one.
This is pre-supply chain shortage too, so it would have been surprising. Like, when would they ever sell out of angel food cake?
It's just it's like the Marble Rye episode of Seinfeld. So somebody comes in and it's like fighting off an old lady for the final loaf of angel food cake. Funny enough story. I have not brewed beer since my daughter was born, and a couple weeks ago I brewed beer, and it's sitting right here in my office, conditioning in front of me, and we are going to condition it on angel food cake.
Fantastic.
Yep. So just bring it right around there. Iain, any styles like mashup styles that really jump out in your mind?
I think particularly something I've noticed. I mean, I've seen ones with sort of like pilsners as well. I think people are trying to the one that I tried semi recently was like a West Coast IPA inspired pilsner. It was just like a fantastic beer. But I mean, it's just like it's essentially like a dry hopped pilsner, which is nothing new. But I don't know what they did to it that was different from that. Probably, I'm gonna guess they used a grain bill that used some similar like malts to TIPAs instead of pilsners. But I mean, it was exactly like Ben said, whereas it drank like a pilsner. It's everything you're looking for, where it's like light, good like cracker flavors, right? Like that sort of like white flour sort of flavor, but with like really strong, really fresh hop aromas. Like the hops just like exploded out of the glass. Definitely one of those beers. It's like fantastic off the tap and maybe like dulled down a little bit in the can. And then another one I had was a Kolsch. It was like an unfiltered dry hopped Kolsch from another brewery here in Austin. That was like, everyone has sort of expectations going to a Kolsch. I like Kolsch because they're like an extremely predictable beer. It is what it is,
Know what you're getting.
It's like floral, it's light, but man, this Kolsch was just like hazy. The body was different, but not too different. The flavor was different, but not too different. It's just tweaked enough. That recipe was like just tweaked enough where it was like a truly, truly special beer, and they haven't made it since. So that's fun. I was like, oh wow, this is one of my favorite beers of all time. I'm so lucky. I live right down the road from this brewery, and they haven't made it since. It's been like 2 years. I need to get on it about that.
Yeah, I am definitely in that camp of like, I love when they take IPA elements and mash it up with lagers. Just give me a nice dry hop pilsner. Just give me a good, well done classic Czech pils, which should have a significant amount of hop character to it. I have also had beers that are like that. that will go unnamed that I hated. There's a brewery that does a lager. They take one of their New England IPA recipes and do it as a lager, and the New England IPA character of it almost overwhelms everything that you would love about a lager. The hop oils put weird things in the mouthfeel that aren't usually there with the lager.
Oh yeah,
the finish is different. The crispiness is gone. It does weird things.
I've been digging Italian pilsners lately.
Italian pills.
There are a few breweries around here that regularly have those on tap now, and just getting that little bit of extra lemony, citrusy flavors from the hops is really enjoyable to me in a lager and a pilsner.
Well,
Yeah,
I saw someone bring up this beer in the chat when we were talking about like first Belgians, and especially when we were talking about like how you can really stretch your dollar for ABV, but the Gold Monkey, of course, and then sort of the play off that is the Sour Monkey.
Yeah.
Which is still an outrageous ABV. I thought with Sour Monkey they'd bring the ABV down, but no, they
9% too. Yep.
Yeah, keep it true to its spirit. God bless them, you know. But I actually, that was a beer that I went into expecting like, oh, I'm probably gonna hate this. It was actually pretty well balanced, and it was a decent beer. I like, obviously 9%. You can't drink it every day. You can't drink many of them in a night. But
sounds like a challenge.
It's the acid reflux challenge on.
That's what it is. Yeah. The Oh geez, I just had a meltdown there. I trying to set us up for our next segment here, and just like completely screwed it up.
As a child, I would trade a nuclear warhead candy on the playground like currency, and that has led me to where I'm at today, which is indigestion and a lot of pain.
And a roll of heartburn medicine in the pocket at all times.
Now we trade Pepsid like currency.
I've been on the Pepsid kick for a while. You got some Tums. I need to switch it up, keep my acid reflux on its toes. So one thing I did want to talk about, I think we all three of us here have been on the internet. We've been on the internet, right?
Dabbled, yeah.
Oh, yeah. God, I hope not.
Yeah. Well, I mean that in a different way. We've all posted videos on the internet that I would like to talk about that we might be of interest to listeners. And of course, I'm going to start with myself to further explain why I am injured and elaborate on the story I told last week. We are currently running a wonderful special for our 12 Beers of Christmas box and Happy Hanukkah box through Brewvana, 15% off. And we filmed this ad for it. Ho, ho, ho. From July 18th through the 25th, get 15% off our holiday beer boxes. That means 15% off the Happy Hanukkah box and 15% off the 12 Beers of Christmas. This deal is a slam dunk. So right there. Right there, you'll notice a couple things. The box I tried. So for listeners at the home, I tried to cap off this amazing advertisement by dunking one of our Happy Hanukkah boxes on a full-size basketball hoop. I'm 6'2". I used to be able to dunk. I am 35 now and very unathletic. And I jumped up, landed on my leg, and got hurt. And then the box came down and hit me in the head to add insult to injury. But yeah, you can see right about there. I land.
I mean, at least it was the Hanukkah box and not the 12 beer box, right?
Yeah. For
little lighter.
Yeah. Little lighter there. So yeah, that is why I'm injured. That's why I was on crutches for a couple of days. And
can I point out that the script originally called for you to say it's a real slam dunk, and then you're supposed to do a layup, right? Where it's a a comedic misdirection, right? Because you're expecting a dunk and it's a layup. And I heard that, Brian, you insisted upon landing the dunk.
That's 100% true. Freddie was like, you could just shoot it, you could lay it up. And I was like, no, I have to try to dunk it because I'm still an idiot that wants to like do impressive athletic things, even though I've never been impressive athletically. So yeah, there's no one to blame but myself.
Do you have that MJ in you now where it's like you're gonna go back and try and dunk again, that you've taken it personally, and now you're gonna train over the next year? You're gonna heal up, train, and then go just destroy that basket?
I took that personally. I was gonna say the only thing MJ and I have in common is that meme of him that says "fuck them kids." It's a funny meme. Yeah. So a couple of you. I'm just like at a loss for words tonight. 4 hours of sleep, grinding my teeth all night. I'm gonna blame that. But our friend Ian here also had a nice a video on our Brewvana page that I think we should all enjoy here together, and maybe Ian can talk us through it too. Oh, of course I screwed it up and didn't play it from the beginning. Oh,
so to set this up, this is corresponding with our if you sign up for the Brewvana newsletter, we are sending out weekly beer recommendations for the summer featuring the Brewvana staff. I started off in this my beer recommendation. I was just talking about how I love Kolsch's. This is a Kolsch called Carl from St. Elmo Brewing Company right here in Austin. It's like the perfect summer beer for Texas. But yeah, it's based in Texas. That's what you need to know for this.
Yeah, great setup. Thank you, Ian.
Fuck them, gig them up, eat them up, bing, bang, bang, bang.
So if you're unaware, all the state universities in Texas have stupid slogans, and that's where like gig them, eat them up. Yeah, they all have. Hook 'em is the other one. They're like they all have slogans. Yeah.
The hook 'em always the hook 'em with the Texas accent always gets me. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em.
So just wonderful. And
I was just happy to wear the honky tonk shirt because I rarely have like an occasion to put on the honky tonk shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't go out two-stepping too much. The bolo I wear like every day pretty much. You know, anytime I have a collared shirt, I wear the bolo. But yeah, the honky tonk shirt was nice to play dress up. You know.
I don't get the bolo. I don't ever get the bolo. Like it's not a tie. Like where did that come from?
Okay, well it's the same. Okay, so do you know why ties were invented in the first place? Ties were invented before buttons, and it's to keep the collar of your shirt closed. And so you usually had a tie up top, and then you had like typically old shirts had like a tie at the bottom as well. That's how. And then bolos sort of came in, I think, around the same time. But they're great if you have them because they're like they're still formal, but you don't have to tie a tie. Right? You just put it on and you slide it up. That's why bolos are the best. They're the best.
I gotta get out. I gotta get on the prairie. I don't got time to tie a tie. Hook 'em. Okay, that's a wonderful video, Ian. I very much enjoy that. And finally, Ben here. Ben, why don't you tell us about what you did last summer with the Brewvana bus?
Oh, you want to know what I did last summer? I actually drove a tour vehicle for our sister company, City Brew Tours, from Portland to mostly Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yep. We ran into some problems there.
And I got to about Youngstown, Ohio. I had other problems along the way, but I got to Youngstown, Ohio, and I lost my steering. and my brakes. And so I had to use half my body weight to finish pulling off the interstate, and the other half my body weight into the brakes. And then Brian had to come rescue me from a Mexican restaurant in Youngstown, Ohio, where it was
what was the name? El Jalapeno.
El Jalapeno 2. The second, the junior, I don't know, but it was this family Mexican restaurant in a part of Ohio I've never been to, and it's me and my suitcase, and I was wearing also a cowboy hat, and I felt it was like a record scratch when I walked in through the door. Everyone turned and looked at me, and I was just drinking tequila and beer and having a grand old time eating carnitas until Brian came, and he literally rescued me from Ohio, took me to Pittsburgh, because the part that they needed to replace they couldn't get until the next day, and then so Brian had to go back to Youngstown and get the bus whose name is Georgie, and take him up to Burlington, where he will never have a mechanical issue again, because he doesn't have to be driven across the entire continental United States again.
Yep, and I think he is. That was quite the.
I had a blast, though. I had a wonderful time, and I was really glad that I had my big mechanical breakdown in a place with people.
Big ass American road trip, day 6. Started off great.
We're not gonna watch all of this. It's 4.5 minutes long. I just wanted to show the part with you use the bear.
Yeah.
The bear over your face. That was great.
But yeah, so close to Pittsburgh. You were so close.
I was
recognizable city. Yeah.
My night before was in Cleveland, and it took me like 13 hours to get from where I was staying in Iowa to Cleveland, and Barry told me it was only going to take 9. And I was on the turnpike or whatever, and I could see Cleveland, like I was entering the Cleveland metro area, and I was just crying. I was so tired, and I could tell. I went through a toll booth, and the toll booth guy was like asking me a bunch of questions about my vehicle, and it occurred to me that he was like trying to check to see if I was like okay to keep like driving.
It was a wellness check.
Yeah, and because I was like, it's really weird because there's cars behind me, and he's being really friendly, and like I'm not saying I don't think people in Ohio are friendly, but this is really weird. And then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, I must have looked rough. And and so then the next day I'm like, oh, 2 hours. I can take some back roads. I can get 2 breakfast items at Sheetz. I can just chill. And I was screaming along to I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance on I-76, and I could smell something weird, and I could see that my engine was overheating, and I was like, oh, I'm not okay. So yeah, that was my big ass American road trip, day 6.
Yeah, for the non-East Coasters in the chat, 2 breakfast items from Sheetz is technically 6 breakfast items from anywhere else, because it's like a hash brown stacked on top of an egg stacked on top of like a fried chicken patty.
Have you heard of the sandwiches that use donuts for buns instead of buns? Those originated in this area. This was the test market. The test market was like Youngstown in like Butler County, north of Pittsburgh.
Well, and so like, okay. So Doug in the chat says, Wawa over Sheetz. Look,
100%.
I'm gonna say I slightly prefer Wawa, but I grew up in that weird part of Pennsylvania that had both. And I do enjoy that at both places you have touch screens. You don't have to talk to anyone. And for everything that you get, it will ask, would you like to add bacon to this? doesn't matter what it is. It could be a dessert item. It's
fruit salad
for 35 extra cents. Would you like to add bacon? And it's amazing. The things that you would normally never think to add bacon to, you're tempted when you see a bargain like 35 cents for bacon.
I found that they like serve the extremes of the day on different ends, right? Where like every time I go to Wawa, or I've been to Wawa really early in the morning to like drive back to Texas from Philadelphia, and it was full of like construction workers getting coffee and their food for the day at like 5 o'clock. I've also been at Sheetz at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was full of drunk college kids from shipping.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. So it's like when you have like the latest late night people like going in there to get like drunk food, that's where Sheetz comes in, and then the opposite, Wawa's for the working man.
Sheetz makes me feel like it's too nice for me. And I look down on Wawa when I walk into it, and that's why I think Sheetz over Wawa. You want to lift up the people around you, and Wawa does not do that for me.
Well,
Sheetz does.
So Sheetz has like these really colorful neon lights and stuff, whereas Wawa is just bright. At all hours of the day, you can see everything. There's nothing is hidden. When you're in Wawa.
I feel like Sheetz found the contrast button on their photo editor.
I will say,
wow, it was like brightness.
A common thing that I've noticed at Sheetz, and I'm sorry if we are going way off topic here at this point. This is a wild tangent into regional fast food. There's an alarm in the kitchen at Sheetz that is just always going off. Yes. And I've noticed it at Sheetz in multiple states.
Yeah.
And I guess if you work there, you just get used to it. But as a customer, I'm just like, because I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm in Shippensburg. I'm hearing the same alarm, the same exact sound at every single Sheetz station.
Beep, 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 beep,
and I'm just
it
like,
gives me an anxiety
will
test.
someone do something about this? Like, is there not something that is toasting to death in the oven, right? Like, what's going on? What is the point of an alarm if it's always going off?
No, yes.
Irritating.
If you don't have time without an alarm, there is no alarm. And that's what we'll leave you with, folks. If you have no silence, there is no alarm. This has been Brews Less Traveled. Good night. No, that's thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah. Cheers to both of you. Thanks to our friends at Monkless Belgian Ales for supplying some great brews. I still have half a can left of both of these, and I can't wait to enjoy them.
Thanks to Monklis for providing a neck tattoo for Brian.
Yes, this will be I'll have a nice discussion in the mirror, an HR discussion in the mirror about neck tattoos tomorrow.
Excellent.
You can find more from our featured brewery, Monkless Belgian Ales, at monklis.com. As always, you can find more from us at brewvana.com, including some great writing from tonight's guest, Ian. You could also join the beer club there, help support the podcast. You get some great beers, some neck tattoos out of it, and some good fun as well. You can also follow us on all the social medias at Brewvana. We'll be back next week with one more episode to cap off this wonderful city of Bend. But until then, stay safe, be kind, and support local breweries and get neck tattoos. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, everyone. Good night.
Have a great night.
Cheers. Thanks for watching Brews Less Traveled on YouTube. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interviews with brewery professionals.